Keeping it real, keeping it real. Keeping it real, keeping it real. Keeping it real with Reverend Laura.
Well, good morning. Hope you have your coffee and enjoying it as much as I am. I'm Reverend Laura, and this is Keeping It Real. This is that opportunity we take each week to explore some practices that will actually bring these principles into our lives in a greater way. You know, it's one thing to learn the principles, to understand them, to listen to them, to read about them, but they really don't do us a lot of good unless we actually apply them in our lives, unless we actually take that opportunity we have, make the effort to put these practices into our lives in a real and meaningful way. It's just really kind of lip service. You know, if we don't actually apply it, it doesn't really do us much good. I've listened to people over the years say, well, I've known this for 20 years. And then the next sentence is, why is my life so messed up? Well, maybe you need to take what you know and actually apply it. You know, maybe that's the key to it, is actually putting stuff into practice in our lives in whatever way it is that works for you. We have thousands and thousands of spiritual practices out there. If you're stuck, you can always Google them. Find a plethora of practices available for us on the internet. And we have our practices that we engage in each week. You know, I've been speaking each Sunday. I've been adding a practice to my talks each Sunday, just to give people an opportunity to actually apply what it is we're talking about. So this month of March, we've been talking about joy, and I was using the book called The Book of Joy. It's a recollection of a week that Archbishop Desmond Tutu and His Holiness the Dalai Lama spent together in India at the Dalai Lama's compound, Dharamsala in India, on the occasion of the Dalai Lama's 80th birthday. And so these two good friends got together and had a blast. And a book was created out of it, and it's called The Book of Joy. And in there they talk about 8 pillars, and so I've spent the month focusing on those pillars of joy. They are perspective, humor, humility, and acceptance, and then forgiveness, compassion, generosity, and gratitude. And so last week I spoke about compassion and generosity, and I wanted to go a little bit more into generosity, because oftentimes we think that generosity is only about giving money. And there's so much more to it. There's, you know, the generosity of giving our time in our volunteer service, in helping somebody else that's in need at that moment. You know, whether it's formal volunteerism or it's somebody that you just happen to know or see and they need a helping hand right then. There's the generosity of our consciousness, giving our consciousness. And we call that in our philosophy, we call it knowing the truth. When we can see somebody in a situation and we can know the truth of that situation, even if they can't know it for themselves right now. And so, you know, always there's this opportunity to give of ourselves through our consciousness, through our conscious connection, through our understanding of truth in a particular situation that the person who's in the midst of the situation can't quite get to. I have a group of friends that, you know, we do a very simple thing. Whenever one of us is challenged, we will text the rest of the group. And, you know, sometimes we go into whatever the challenge is, and sometimes it's just no truth. You know, I'm in this right now. I just need you to know truth for me right now because I can't know it for myself. I'm too close to the situation to be able to understand that there's possibilities that exist there that I can't get to yet because I'm so immersed in the situation. And so, you know, knowing truth for people, being generous with our spirit, generosity of spirit is so powerful and such a wonderful thing that we can do for the rest of the world, for the communities. You know, when I first started here, one of the first things I did was I stopped watching the news because I didn't want to bring all that into my awareness. You know, there was just so much going on. I just stopped watching the news. And when I was in ministerial school, that one of one of the classes we were taking, we actually had to watch the news and we had to write about events from a spiritual perspective. We had to know the truth for those events. And so that got me re-engaged in actually every day checking the news, reading the news, finding out what's happening, so that, I'm not the ostrich with my head in the sand anymore, who's just going about my life and not worried about the rest of the world. I now have the experience to give of myself in a way that is a benefit to the rest of the world, whether they know it or not. Because when I know truth, when I open up to a greater experience or greater possibility that exists in each and every situation, then I give a place for spirit to operate. It only operates through each one of us individually. And if we're closed off to it, there's no room for a spirit to be there. And we don't know how it's going to show up, and that's not our concern how it's going to show up. Our practice is to know the truth of the situation. So let me give you an example. We're reading about all of the different things of gun violence in the United States right now. Just, every day there's some more shootings here and there, and you can look it up. I mean, usually it's 3 or 4 shootings a day. And so what I have the opportunity every moment is to know that the presence of the divine is in that situation right then and right there. I don't know how it shows up. I can't know how it's operating. I don't know what is the highest and greatest good specifically for that situation, but I do know that the presence of the divine is there. And when I know that, it gives spirit a place to come through. It gives spirit a place to operate. And then infinite possibilities are available. Maybe if I'm knowing the truth of the situation around gun violence, then someone who's picked up a gun and is in a dark place in their life, and they decide they want to use that gun in whatever way it is they're going to use it, I've opened up in consciousness to a place for spirit to operate. And spirit can show up for that person. I don't even have to be there. This can happen around the world, any place in the world. There is no formal locality for spirit. It's part of what we understand in quantum physics. There is no locality. It operates universally all the time, in the same place, the same way. And so when we align ourselves with that spiritual truth, then we give spirit a place to operate in the world. And there is no greater world work that we can do. There is no greater generosity that we can give of ourselves in this way, to actually open up in consciousness to the truth that is, and allow ourselves to be that conduit through which spirit flows. So as you're going out throughout your week and you encounter difficult situations, you're driving along the road and there's an accident, no truth at that moment. The presence of God is right there. The presence of the divine is active in every single person in that experience. It's active in the people who have been injured. It's active in the people who did the injuring. It's active in the people who are responding to it, the first responders who come there to give aid and assistance to the people. It is active in every single aspect of that situation. And you knowing that truth as you drive past that gives spirit a place for it to work. And like I said, there's no greater work out there. So find the ways, if you are encountering, you're hearing it on TV, you're at work and someone's having an argument, it's always an opportunity for you to know spiritual truth right then and right there. And if you're having trouble knowing it for yourself, we have wonderful practitioners that you can reach out to that will help you know it. Give us a call. Let us know what you need, and we will be able to respond to that in our consciousness to you to allow spirit a place to operate in your life, in your experience. Have a beautiful and blessed week, everyone, and we'll see you here again next week. Next month, we're starting the theme of the month for love, so we get to spend a little bit of time loving on each other. So take care and have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.
Keeping it real with Reverend Laura.